Okay, this week we are back with a wild one. We've seen a rise in women swearing off men entirely because Donald Trump won. North Korean soldiers fighting in Russia had unrestricted access for the first time. And I'll just let you guess which websites they're allegedly addicted to.
Corn casserole.
Elon Musk's relationship with Trump and political influence is starting to scare people. This man started a business where he cusses out people's bosses for them. All of that and more, my sacrificial lamb. So let's get crackin'! Okay, let's jump into today's first story because, boy, it's a juicy one. By now, I'm sure we've already seen how involved Elon Musk has been in to try and get Donald Trump elected. He used his massive platform as the most followed man on Twitter to constantly criticize the Democrats and support Trump. He gave out $1 million a day to random voters in key swing states. He even set up a pro-Trump spending group called America PAC, which we are now finding out just today, according to the AP, that Elon Musk's super PAC spent around $200 million to help Trump get elected. And it's fair to say, by all accounts, there may not have been a single person outside of politics that influenced the election more, or at least that we know of. And I mean, Elon himself said that everything for him was riding on Trump winning.
He loses, man. What?
You're dude. I'm fucked. If he loses, I'm fucked.
It does seem that way. You can't just be like, yo,
Yeah, I'm like, how long do you think my prison sentence is going to be? Do you think, will I see my children? I don't know.
But hey, all of that is in the past now, right? You know, Trump has won. Elon has done his part. Surely he'll just leave politics now and get back to his 50 other businesses, right? Wrong! Because we're now hearing reports that Elon has been at Mar-a-Lago every single day since the victory, that he's been weighing in on choices for new government staff, that he's not only been in the room while Trump has been on the phone with world leaders, but also that he's actually jumped in on the conversations, like with Zelensky, for example. And I mean, this just says it, right? Trump's granddaughter posted a picture, said, Elon achieving uncle status. And here's the thing, I guess. Trump is like Marmite. And for anyone that doesn't get that reference, which is in America, you either love it or you hate it. That's... You either love Elon or you hate Elon. So hearing about the level of Musk's involvement with Trump will terrify some, but also really excite others. For example, some of the Elon supporters believe that he could bring his undeniable success that he's had in the private sector and then bring that to the government and bureaucratic processes and revolutionize it. But others worry that that revolutionizing process is too extreme because yes, revolutions, they usher in change, but they're also extremely destabilizing. And also others worry about this huge conflict of interest because his involvement in key government decisions could give him enormous amount of sway that could unfairly benefit his 10,000 businesses. But here is where things get even more interesting. Because remember on Joe Rogan's podcast with Trump, which aired like a week before the election, Trump said that the biggest mistake in his first term that he made was choosing the wrong people. And this comes at a time where not only, is he involving Elon Musk significantly, but we're also seeing that Trump has been making some bold choices for key positions in America's government. Okay, shut up. Past Dylan. It's time for present Dylan because there's been an update since I recorded and it's pretty major from the story. So Trump has announced last night that Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy will be the heads of the Department of Government Efficiency, which does have the acronyms of Doge, the meme. Only Elon. Now, this organization does not currently exist, and when it is created, it is not expected to be an official department. But these agencies apparently do have to be established through an act of Congress and typically employ thousands of staff. Trump said that Doge will provide advice and guidance from outside the government, and that it will help his government dismantle government bureaucracy, slash excess regulations, cut wasteful expenditure, and restructure federal agencies. I mean, how is that for Elon being involved in the government? All right, back to you, Dylan. Kind of makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, Trump has been the only US president that has come from the private sector without having a job before in politics. And now he's also non-officially bringing in Elon on these decisions, who has also never worked in politics. And both of them are prime examples of people who have kind of taken the non-traditional route to their extreme wealth and extreme influence. And now both of them have all of this power that was once reserved exclusively for the political elites. And obviously, that is a monumental shift. It might be something that is much needed, but it's also something that could backfire massively. So the question is, do you think that Trump is repeating his biggest mistake by involving Elon, or will this be one of his greatest successful choices? Let me know your thoughts, and let's move on. Now, our second story of the day is also a bit of fallout from the election, because since Trump has won, there has been a surge in women considering going on the men strike. Now, it's essentially, if you haven't heard, it's a protest inspired by the South Korean 4B movement, in which women carry out the 4 no's. No marriage with men, no children with men, no dating men, and no sex with any men. Get the point? Men. And while that emerged in Korea at about 2015, 2016, in response to the stark gender inequality experienced in the country, it's now gaining interest in America after Trump's win. From those who have spoken about it publicly online, they say that they are angry and fed up after a majority of men in the country voted for a candidate who was found liable for sexual abuse, and also whose policies would regress women's rights. And so they're saying if that's what men have voted for, well, then they will respond by taking back power, by taking back their bodies.
4B movement starting. You know what we're gonna do?
And I think all women should stop having for the next 4 years.
For the next 4 years, I am going to abstain from schmex with men.
I've literally broken up with a man because he voted for Trump. And you can too.
All I have to say is good luck getting laid.
But it's not only just taking back their bodies too, because, for those who are actually already in relationships, boyfriends, husbands, well, they say that they plan to protest in other ways, such as boycotting male-owned businesses or refusing to do labor for men. But here's the thing, I'm also cautious to overstate how prominent this movement is. Currently, it's still pretty small, but, those who are participating are urging other women around the country to join them.
Women, stop dating men. Stop having with men. Stop talking to men. Divorce your husbands. Leave your boyfriends. Leave them. They don't give a shit about you. And I promise you, come over to this side.
So the question is, do you think that this movement will catch on, or will it die out quickly? Let me know. Moving on. Okay. This next one is pretty crazy. So there's this guy on TikTok who has started his own business where you can complain about your boss anonymously, and then he will go to your work and cuss out your boss so you don't get fired. And it goes about just as well as you would imagine it would.
Man, let me tell your thin head ass something, man. Fat lady right here. You don't like to wash your damn chin. You look like your chin stink as hell. Stink chin ass. He comes into work every day with the same gray plaid button up with gray undershirt smelling like dirty gooch. I guess that's what you wearing now. Get the out! Get out! And your ass is getting fired. You don't act like that while you on the clock. The school got roaches. While y'all in here trying to act all sedity, y'all there got roaches.
And for those of you still confused, on the front page of his website, where people submit their complaints, it states in bold, real company, real complaints. You get it now? And then also somewhat surprisingly, it states it's a non-profit, which, what is that? It's okay. I thought it was a freaking spider. Which basically just means bro's just doing it for the passion, for the love of the game. Oh, and also, this guy does it remote. So if you can't show up to your work, let's say you live in another state or even another country, he says he can do it over a call. Oh, and OCDA is also hiring, with the top 3 requirements for this job being must know how to cut someone off when they're talking, can't mind talking back, and the number 1 requirement and trait is must know how to cuss. Alex, if you get any ideas, we don't have many employees here. You're pretty much the only one, so I'll know. Moving on. Okay, this next one has to be the most American thing I've ever seen. So a 71-year-old cyclist in Oregon, he was hit by an ambulance that made a right turn into him. So it's the ambulance's fault, apparently and allegedly. That ambulance then put him in the back, right? Drove him to hospital, but they then proceeded to charge him $1,800 for the trip. The hospital piles on. They charge him $47,000 for medical expenses. Oh, and an additional $50,000 in expenses that he's still waiting to receive. Oh, and then just to add one more American ingredient into this story. This man is now suing the ambulance provider for $997,000. Baffling medical bills. People suing people. The last thing that you would need to complete the American trifecta is if the ambulance staff asked him for a 20% tip. I'm just kidding, America. I love you, really. Oh, and you know what else I love? The sacrifice that today's 3 sacrificial lambs have willingly chosen to make to remind us all you never watch a NEWSDADDY video without liking. Thank you for... Okay. I'm telling you now, these are randomly, I promise, these are randomly generated. And one of the sacrificial lambs that I now have to whip is actually the European Space Agency. If you don't understand why, you haven't watched my last video.
Try not to die.
Oh my god. Oh my goodness. I don't know where I am. So, I guess it's a little bit awkward, but the rules are the rules. Thank you, European Space Agency, for your sacrifice. Today's 3 sacrificial lambs. I'm sorry, European Space Agency. You never thought you'd be on the whip wall, but you are now. I don't make any exceptions. Thank you for your sacrifice. But on the topic of flying, it's kind of a leap. It's not really on the same topic. European Space Agency flying. This story. Today, a passenger plane flying from Florida to Haiti had to, at the last minute, divert their trip, pull up 100 meters from landing because gangs on the ground in Haiti shot at the passenger plane. Videos and pictures show bullet holes from inside the plane, one of which grazed the flight attendant who suffered minor injuries. Luckily, none of the actual passengers were hit. But what the hell? Planes in 2024 just need to stop. The incident forced authorities to shut down Haiti's international airport, and it's being reported that all major airlines in the US have suspended operations to the country. Insane. Did I say rapid fire news? But we're on rapid fire news. Okay, this next one, I wasn't even sure if I was gonna talk about because the claims are so wild and there's very little evidence to prove that it is true. But because it is so wild, I'll talk about it anyway. Reports came out last week that North Korean soldiers who are now, fighting for Russia in Ukraine, well, I can't even say this seriously. This is supposed to be a serious news channel, okay? Where we don't make silly jokes.
I didn't know that. You're telling me now for the first time.
But they basically, allegedly, are hooked on pornography because they've never seen it or had access to it before, at least in the unrestricted sense. Yeah. Now, this information comes from a columnist from the Financial Times. Financial Times, pretty reputable. And this columnist tweeted that he heard it from a usually reliable source, but then he didn't provide any other information, no context to that, why he was even telling us in the first place. He just said it and then disappeared. And then, to make things even crazier, the Pentagon was asked about these claims, and they basically said, how the hell should we know what North Koreans are watching in Russia? Our basic enemy. What the hell? And I don't even know if I have any thoughts on the subject, to be honest, apart from if someone told you at the beginning of this year that something like this would happen, you would say, get out of here. You say, get out of town. Get out of, shut the front door, you scallywag. Okay, I'm done with that story. Next. Oh, okay, weirdly kind of staying on the same topic.
Corn casserole.
One of the largest children's toy companies in the entire world was forced to apologize today after they accidentally printed an adult website on the back of their packaging of their dolls. How? Now, these toys were recently released for the upcoming movie Wicked, and there's a good pun in there, I'm sure. And Mattel recommend these dolls for children aged 4 and above. That's whoever was responsible for that has made a big mistake. Mattel said that they deeply regret this error and they are advising their customers to discard the product packaging. And then for our last story, and this one is just, how do they keep on doing this? Prime is getting sued again. I swear, at this point, it's literally becoming a trend and a sport. Who can sue Prime the most? Now this time it was for trademark infringement of their Prime X bottles, which if you're not familiar, this is what they look like, and it was for a little like treasure hunt release that they did. And so this Minnesota-based X Hydration company, they filed a lawsuit against Logan Paul and KSI's drink company, and they essentially said that they infringed on their logo, their trademark, and that it caused irreparable harm, and they will continue to suffer irreparable harm. Is that just because of the association that people might believe? I don't know. But it's just insane. It's the Olympics sued them. People that claimed there was microplastics in there, I think the claim was. Then you had Mass Plus sue them, which was a twist that no one saw coming. And now X Hydration. So I think you could tell I'm just at the end of my ropes with today. Anyway, I think that's all I have for you today. It feels like it's been a while since we've had one of these anarchy sessions of just the roundups, because I've been doing a lot more single subjects where I'm a lot more to the point. And the thing is, I'm alone in a garage, right? No one can hear me scream. And so immediately, I think that pushes me to the depths of insanity. So it's probably not good. Anyway, I'm done. All right. Thank you, Alex. Much love. Love you guys. Oh, and I will see you sometime in the future. I'm not even promising a day at this point. Oh!